The mark of the beast, Revelation 13, 16, 17. 17 presents one of the most chilling prophecies in the Bible. It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. This warning about the mark of the beast not only foretells a future where economic transactions are controlled, but also signifies the profound loss of personal freedom and the rise of a totalitarian regime. This essay delves into the implications of this prophecy, examining its meaning for individual liberty, societal structure, and spiritual integrity. 1. Loss of personal freedom and autonomy. And that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Revelation 13:17. The imposition of the mark as a prerequisite for buying and selling represents a significant loss of personal freedom and autonomy. This system forces individuals to conform to a global standard that directly opposes divine law, under penalty of economic and social ostracization. For believers, this scenario presents a moral dilemma. Compliance would mean participating in a system that defies God, while refusal could lead to severe persecution. The prophecy serves as a stark reminder of the challenges that faith may face in a world where economic and political powers converge to enforce allegiance to ungodly principles. 2. Rise of totalitarian control. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. Revelation 13:16. The universal scope of this mandate, impacting rich and poor, free and slave, highlights the totalitarian nature of the beast regime. This control extends beyond mere political dominance, penetrating into the personal and economic lives of all individuals. Such a system reflects the ultimate earthly power that seeks to replace divine sovereignty with human authority, symbolizing a profound challenge to the Christian commitment to God's kingdom. This aspect of the prophecy is a call to vigilance and resistance against any political or social system that demands absolute allegiance at the expense of spiritual fidelity. 3. Spiritual integrity and resistance. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are those who keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Revelation 14:12. Following the passage about the mark of the beast, Revelation highlights the need for patience and perseverance among the saints. This response is not passive, but an active, steadfast refusal to compromise spiritual integrity. Believers are called to maintain their allegiance to God above all, even in the face of potential suffering. This spiritual resistance is crucial, not only as a stand against oppressive earthly powers, but as a testimony to the enduring power of faith in God over the temporal powers of the world. The prophecy of the mark of the beast in Revelation 13:16, 17 is a forewarning of the potential culmination of human governance systems that completely oppose the divine order. It serves as a crucial reminder for believers to prepare spiritually, mentally, and communally to stand firm in their faith. Understanding this prophecy should instill a resolve to resist any form of governance that seeks to usurp divine authority or compromise one's commitment to God. As history progresses towards its divine conclusion, the call to remain faithful becomes increasingly significant, urging believers to live out their faith with courage and conviction in the face of growing opposition. The darkening of the sun and moon. Matthew 24:29. In Matthew 24:29, Jesus provides a vivid depiction of celestial phenomena that will signal the approach of the end times. Immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. This prophecy is not just a prediction of physical disturbances, but serves as a profound spiritual message about the culmination of history and the preparation required for his return. This essay explores the significance of these signs and what they mean for believers today. 1. Symbolism of celestial events in biblical prophecy. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Joel 2:31. The darkening of the sun and the moon is a powerful symbol found throughout the Bible, often used to signify major divine interventions in human history. These celestial signs serve as metaphors for significant changes, not only in the heavens, but also in spiritual realms. The imagery of darkness can be interpreted as a veil being drawn over the usual order of things, indicating a time when the ordinary operations of the world are suspended in anticipation of something extraordinary. This symbolism urges believers to reflect on the transient nature of earthly life and the eternal significance of spiritual preparedness. 2. The role of signs in fostering faith and vigilance. And there will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea. Luke 21:25. The signs in the heavens are meant not only to forewarn, but also to foster faith and vigilance among the faithful. These disturbances are signals to believers to remain steadfast and alert, recognizing that the fulfillment of God's promises is near. Such signs are a call to prayer and moral rectitude, reminding us that our actions on earth must be aligned with our spiritual beliefs, especially as the world undergoes turmoil. This prepares the community of believers not just for survival through tumultuous times, but for active participation in the kingdom to come. 3. Understanding the prophetic context of Jesus' return. Men will faint from terror, apprehensive of what is coming on the world, for the heavenly bodies will be shaken. Luke 21:26. The darkening of the sun and the moon also highlights the prophetic nature of Jesus' return. This eschatological event is not merely a historical endpoint, but a transformative moment for creation and humanity. The shaking of the heavenly bodies signifies the profound impact of Jesus' second coming on both a cosmic and a personal level. For believers, this prophecy is a reminder of the ultimate accountability and the final renewal of all things under Christ's reign. It invites an introspective examination of one's life and faith, urging a life lived in conscious anticipation of this cosmic transformation. The prophecy of the darkening of the sun and moon in Matthew 24:29 is a multifaceted call to awareness for Christians. It serves as a reminder of the transient nature of our current world and the magnificent transformation to come with the return of Christ. As these celestial signs herald the close of one era and the dawn of another, believers are called to live in a state of preparedness, ever vigilant and steadfast in faith, ready for the moment when history reaches its divine fulfillment. This teaching does not only prepare us for the future, but enriches our present by infusing it with purpose, urgency, and hope. Wars and rumors of wars, Matthew 24:6. In the discourse on the end times detailed in Matthew 24, Jesus provides a prophetic outline of the events that will precede his return, including a specific mention of global conflicts. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Matthew 24:6. This prophecy not only foretells a world rife with geopolitical conflicts, but also instructs believers on how to respond to such times. This essay explores the deeper implications of this prophecy, encouraging a perspective of peace and spiritual steadiness in the face of global unrest. 1. The inevitability of conflict as a prophetic sign. When you hear of wars and revolutions, do not be frightened. These things must happen first, but the end will not come right away. Luke 21:9. The inevitability of wars and rumors of wars as described by Jesus underscores the tumultuous nature of human history leading up to the end times. This prophecy suggests that conflict is an integral part of the human condition and the unfolding of the divine plans. It serves as a sign, not just of the brokenness of the world, but also of the ongoing fulfillment of prophetic words. For believers, this recognition should lead to a deeper understanding of the world's temporary state and the importance of focusing on eternal promises rather than being caught up in temporary geopolitical dramas. 2. Encouragement to maintain peace and composure. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. John 14:27. Amidst the foretold upheavals, the instruction to not be alarmed is a call for believers to maintain inner peace and composure. This directive challenges Christians to cultivate a spirit of trust in God's sovereignty, regardless of external chaos. The peace that Jesus talks about is not the absence of trouble, but a profound assurance of God's presence and control. In practical terms, this means engaging in prayer, strengthening community bonds, and supporting peace initiatives, embodying the peace of Christ in a world of conflict. 3. Spiritual readiness and the bigger picture. But the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. Matthew 24:13. The context of wars and rumours of wars is ultimately linked to the perseverance of faith. This situation tests the fidelity and endurance of believers, emphasising the need for spiritual readiness. Jesus' teachings encourage followers to view these conflicts as parts of a larger divine narrative that culminates in his return. Therefore, understanding this prophecy should inspire believers to live with a heightened sense of purpose and urgency, actively engaging in their faith and outreach to others, and standing firm against the spiritual challenges that come with global unrest. The prophecy of wars and rumours of wars in Matthew 24:6 is not merely a prediction, but a directive for how to live in turbulent times. It reminds believers of the impermanence of worldly governments and conflicts and refocuses their attention on the unshakable kingdom of God. By maintaining peace, cultivating spiritual readiness, and understanding the prophetic nature of global events, Christians can navigate the complexities of these times with faith and confidence, embodying the hope and steadiness that comes from Christ. As we observe the unfolding of these events, our challenge is to remain anchored in the truth of the gospel, promoting peace and looking forward to the ultimate fulfillment of all God's promises. The rise of false prophets. Matthew 24:11. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 11, we are warned by Jesus Christ, many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. This caution is more than a simple admonition. It serves as a critical guide for believers navigating the complexities of faith, especially in times filled with uncertainty and moral challenges. This essay explores the significance of this warning, applying a deeply theological lens while keeping the discussion accessible, focusing on how to discern truth in a world where falsehood often appears true. 1. Understanding the nature of false prophets. Watch out for false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. Matthew 7:15. False prophets are not always easy to identify. They might appear genuine, kind, and convincing, much like wolves in sheep's clothing. They often use their charisma and eloquence to attract followers, especially those who are vulnerable or seeking direction. The challenge for us, then, is to look beyond the surface and assess the true nature of their teachings. Are they leading us closer to the truth and to God, or are they spreading confusion and leading us astray? This requires us to not only listen to what they say, but also watch what they do. 2. The importance of discernment in faith. By their fruit you will recognize them. Do people pick grapes from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? Matthew 7:16. Jesus teaches us that the true nature of anyone, including prophets, can be discerned by the fruits of their actions. Just as good trees produce good fruit, true leaders in faith will produce and inspire goodness in their followers. This includes virtues like love, peace, patience, and kindness. Conversely, false prophets will produce poor fruit such as division, hatred, confusion, and immorality. Developing discernment in faith isn't just about observing, but actively engaging with the teachings of the Bible to see if they align with what is being taught or demonstrated by these leaders. 3. The role of individual and community vigilance. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. Matthew 24:24. This warning underscores the sophistication of deception in the end times, indicating that the false prophets will be capable of performing miraculous acts that could potentially fool even the most devout believers. This means that vigilance is not just an individual responsibility, but a communal one. As a community, believers are called to support one another, maintaining a strong foundation in scriptural truths and fostering an environment where questions and discussions about faith are encouraged. This communal vigilance helps protect not only oneself, but also the most vulnerable within the community from being led astray. The warning about false prophets in Matthew 24:11 is a call to action for all believers to cultivate discernment and to remain vigilant in their faith practice. In a world where truths can be hidden and deceit comes in many forms, our best defense is a strong, informed, and active faith. As we navigate these challenging times, let us cling to the teachings of the Bible, support one another in our spiritual journeys, and remain steadfast in our commitment to truth and righteousness. The call to vigilance is not one of fear, but one of empowerment, providing us with the tools we need to safeguard our faith against the pitfalls of deception. Great earthquakes and natural disasters, Luke 21:11. In Luke 21:11, the Bible warns of significant natural upheavals. There will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places, along with fearful events and great signs from heaven. These catastrophic events serve as more than mere predictions. They symbolize the profound disturbances in the natural order and are reflective of the spiritual upheavals occurring simultaneously. This essay explores the implications of these prophetic events and their significance for believers today. 1. The symbolism of natural disasters in biblical prophecy. The earth is utterly broken. The earth is split apart. The earth is violently shaken. Isaiah 24:19. Natural disasters in biblical prophecy often symbolize the brokenness of creation due to human sin and the impending renewal that follows divine judgment. These events are reminders of the fragility of the human condition and the temporary nature of the material world. For believers, these signs are calls to spiritual awakening and repentance, urging a re-evaluation of priorities and a renewed focus on spiritual commitments. 2. Preparation and awareness. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour. Matthew 25:13. The unpredictability of these events serves as a metaphor for the unpredictability of the end times themselves. Believers are called to live in a state of constant readiness, not in fear, but in continual preparation, maintaining a life that is spiritually attuned and righteous. This preparation involves both spiritual disciplines and practical measures, ensuring that one's faith is active in love and good works, even as the world around seems to crumble. 3. Signs of creation's groaning. For we know that the whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until now. Romans 8:22. The natural disasters are not only warnings, but also manifestations of creation's groaning as it awaits final redemption and restoration. These events remind believers of the larger cosmic narrative, where creation itself will be liberated from decay and transformed into a new heaven and earth. They inspire hope amid despair, emphasizing that these pains are the birth pangs of a renewed world. The appearance of the Antichrist. 2 Thessalonians 2:3-4. Paul's second letter to the Thessalonians contains a stark warning about the emergence of the man of lawlessness, known as the Antichrist. Don't let anyone deceive you in any way, for that day will not come until the rebellion occurs and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the man doomed to destruction. 2 Thessalonians 2, 3, 4. This figure represents the culmination of human rebellion against God, and understanding this prophecy is crucial for Christians anticipating the end times. 1. The deception of the Antichrist, and no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. 2 Corinthians 11:14. The Antichrist's power lies in his ability to deceive. He will mimic truth and righteousness, drawing away even those who might otherwise remain faithful. For believers, the challenge is to discern this deception, which will require a deep familiarity with the truth of Scripture and a strong communal faith that can resist collective delusion. 2. Opposition to divine authority. He will oppose and will exalt himself over everything that is called God or is worshipped, so that he sets himself up in God's temple, proclaiming himself to be God. 2 Thessalonians 2:4. The Antichrist not only deceives, but actively opposes divine authority, seeking to replace it with his own. This blasphemous act is a direct challenge to the sovereignty of God, representing the ultimate rebellion. Understanding this aspect of the Antichrist's character alerts believers to the severity and seriousness of this opposition, urging them to stand firm in their allegiance to God. 3. The need for spiritual vigilance. Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. 1 Peter 5:8. The appearance of the Antichrist necessitates a heightened state of spiritual vigilance. Believers are called to be watchful, not only guarding against external threats, but also against the erosion of their faith through complacency or fear. This vigilance involves prayer, scriptural study, and communal support, forming a protective barrier against the deceptions that will come. Essay: The Great Tribulation. Matthew 24:21. In one of the most vivid prophecies about the end times, Jesus describes the period known as the Great Tribulation. For then there will be great tribulation, unequaled from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be equaled again. Matthew 24:21. This period of extreme suffering is both a warning and a test, marking a pivotal moment in human history. 1. Unprecedented suffering. There will be great distress, unequaled from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be equaled again. Matthew 24:21. The tribulation will involve suffering beyond anything previously experienced, challenging the faith and endurance of believers. This suffering is not meaningless, but serves as a purification process, separating true faith from superficial belief. Believers are encouraged to understand this as part of God's divine plan, requiring them to rely not on their strength, but on God's providence and salvation. 2. The purpose of divine judgment. Yet if those days had not been cut short, no one would survive. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be shortened. Matthew 24:22. The severity of the tribulation is mitigated by God's mercy. The shortening of these days highlights the purpose of divine judgment, not to destroy indiscriminately, but to save and to bring about a redemption that acknowledges the limits of human endurance. This aspect of the prophecy reassures believers that despite the horrors they may witness or endure, God's ultimate intention is to preserve and renew. 3. The call to perseverance. But the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. Matthew 24:13. The promise of salvation for those who persevere through the tribulation underscores the importance of enduring faith. Believers are called to maintain their faithfulness amidst trials, anchoring themselves in the hope of Christ's return and the restoration of all things. This call to perseverance is not just about survival, but about active faith that works through love, serves others, and spreads the gospel, even in the darkest times. Each of these prophetic warnings, great earthquakes, the rise of the Antichrist, and the Great Tribulation, serves as a signpost on the road to the culmination of history. They remind believers of the transient nature of the world and the permanence of God's kingdom. As we witness or learn of these events, our response should be one of heightened faith, vigilant prayer, and a steadfast commitment to the hope we have in Jesus Christ. This perspective prepares us for the challenges ahead and empowers us to live out our faith dynamically and courageously in the present.